Hey guys, I'm Kalilah Reynolds and it's time for Money Mondays, brought to you in partnership with Proven Wealth. Today I want to talk to you about selling your shares. We've been doing a lot of talking about the buy side, but selling what you've bought for a profit is how you actually make money by investing on the stock exchange. And based on some of the comments that I've been seeing on some of my posts, I figured that I needed to explain this just a bit. So investing on the stock market is the same concept as any other business. The objective is to buy low and sell high, hence making a profit. Now you want to find stocks that offer a good value. Remember we talked about this, whose companies you think are going to improve over time. As those companies grow, the value of their stock increases, and that's where your investment pays off. But it only pays off when you actually sell the stock. Now, you can have many different strategies for when you intend to sell. I know an older person, for example, who says he buys for retirement. So every stock he buys now, that's just set aside for when he's ready to retire, and at that time he'll cash out. So he's definitely in it for the longer term. Many young investors, though, are in it for the short to medium term and want to see a quick turnaround on their money. They'll buy an IPO, for example, and then sell their shares a week later for a quick profit. And some of them, I'm sure, will kick themselves when they see where the share prices hit in a year or 5 years if they'd had a bit more patience. Now, stocks are generally considered a medium to long-term investment as companies grow over time. Case in point, the Epley Caribbean Property Fund offer, which closes on Wednesday, July 1. The success of that fund is likely going to depend on the economic turnaround in Barbados, and that's not going to happen overnight. It will take a few years before you start seeing property values in Barbados recovering if the government stays on the right track. And there are other factors as well, but if and when it does, there will be a pretty handsome return. Now look at where real estate prices are in Jamaica right now compared to 5 years ago. Now, some of you were confused a few weeks ago when I said that you could take some of the profit from some of your stocks and reinvest in some of these new opportunities. And you weren't quite understanding that trading on the Jamaica Stock Exchange involves both buying and selling. In order for you to buy, someone else has to be selling, and vice versa. So if you're invested in the Wigton IPO, for example, that stock is now at 91 cents. The IPO price was 50 cents. So if you were to sell some of your shares in Wigton now, you would make a handsome profit, and then you can use some of those funds to invest in other companies. As simple as that. Now, you could also have other sell strategies. You could tell your broker when the stock hits a certain price, sell. Or let's say you have a particular goal in mind. You're trying to raise enough money for a down payment on a house. Once you reach that goal, sell. The person I spoke about at the beginning of this episode, whose goal is simply retirement savings, once he reaches that time, sell. Now, although you can tell your broker what price you want to sell for, your broker will also advise you whether or not that's actually feasible, especially for the timeline that you set. If you want to sell Wigton at $5 and you want that money by next week, that's not going to happen, and your broker will tell you that. He or she will advise a more reasonable price that's likely to fetch a sale in the time frame that you require. And yes, time does play an important factor. If you need money fast, you might have to sell a bit cheaper than the current market rate to make it attractive to buyers. Think of it just like anything else that you might be trying to sell. Like if you're trying to sell your car and you need the money now, you might have to sell it cheap unless you get lucky and you find somebody who's willing to pay the full price. But if you have a bit more patience, you can definitely attract, or almost definitely attract, the price that you want. Well, that's it for Money Mondays this week, brought to you in partnership with Proven Wealth. I'm Kalilah Reynolds. Until next time.